friends, welcome back. What was that? Hi friends, what is this? I don't know. Hi friends, how you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. As you can see, unlike my previous video, she's fresh-faced, she's bare, she's naked. So I just got out of the shower, and as you can see by the title of the video, we are going to be doing a 0 to 100 transformation because I've seen other people do it and it looks like fun. And of course, following along with our Pride Month theme, it's going to be a color of the rainbow. But now I'm not going to be able to finish the whole rainbow, but I really want to, but time is not my friend. So I'm going to be doing two colors in this video. I'm going to be combining yellow and orange. It's kind of fun, it's cute, it's fresh. Anyways, moving on. Fresh face, part of the transformation is that I start looking like this. First things first, I just got out the shower. I'm currently in my boyfriend's shirt, so this is not the final outfit of this transformation. So I'm going to be toning my face first. Oh, she a little crusty. My moisturizer is nothing fancy. Like, I don't have a super fancy dancy like 21-step skincare routine. I literally use Nivea Q10 Power Anti-Wrinkle Pore Refining Day Cream SPF 15. In your day creams, try and make sure that it has SPF. I know most of them do, but even in your foundations, try and get something with SPF in it, because the sun, she gonna damage you. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention in the intro, which is like a classic rookie mistake anyways, that it's also going to be a bit of a Q&A because I've been getting a few questions from people, so I figured I may as well answer them. So before we move on to the next step, let's grab our first question. How did you apply to teach in Vietnam? So the thing is, and I'm gonna kind of do my skin while I answer the questions. For foundation, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Okay, so how did I apply to teach in Vietnam? I didn't. So my boyfriend and I in 2017, was it? Yeah. In 2017, we went to Thailand. I sold like pretty much everything I had to sell. My car that my parents left me when they moved to the UK. And I had to sell a lot of my stuff, get some money in, and we flew to Thailand. And we did something that's called the TEFL course. And that abbreviation is teaching English as a foreign language. So we stayed in Thailand for a month, doing our course like on campus. Basically, we attended classes for a month, and then we wrote the final exam. We both did really well, got our certificates, and then we were initially wanting to work in Thailand, but we struggled to find work in Thailand. Like, we really struggled to find work. So we were in Thailand for about a month. We were staying with a family friend on my boyfriend's side, and yeah, like I said, we were just really struggling to find work. And two of the people that did the same course that we did were working in Vietnam, but they didn't do it at the same time as us. They did it a couple of months before us. So they messaged the course director of our TEFL Academy and said that the school that they were working at needed 2 teachers because they were going back to England. So our course director contacted us and we applied for the jobs. We had a Skype interview and we flew to Vietnam a week later. So this foundation is quite nice. I feel like it's making my skin look very fresh and very smooth. But this foundation seems to be like a light to medium kind of coverage. So, and this is going to be full glam, so we want to kind of put a little bit more on. My concealer was finished, so I had to buy a new one. And I bought one that's too light for me. So this is in the shade 05 Ivory. She's not my color, but we're gonna work with it. This is so light. Okay, so basically what I do to kind of darken the concealer up a little bit is I take some of my Fit Me foundation. So for powder, I'm going in with the Yardley Absolute Translucent Loose Powder. Okay, so question 2 is, when did you first start with makeup? I think I've always really been into makeup. I mean, my mom wasn't that into makeup when I was growing up, so mine isn't a story of like watching my mom do makeup and playing with her makeup. Like, my mom obviously wore makeup, she just wasn't kind of obsessed with it like I am. But I've always kind of been very self-conscious because I've never had a very mathematical scientific brain. I'm just not wired that way. There's a whole thing about the left and the right side of your brain. I can't remember which is which, but I'm the one that's not mathematically or scientifically inclined. So I've always enjoyed art. I took visual arts at school, and makeup is just another strain of art. So I mean, I was playing with makeup early on. I think I must have been about 13 when I really started asking my mom to buy me foundation and eyeliner. And I mean, now bearing in mind, when I was 13, that was like a good 10 years ago. So the makeup back then was nothing compared to the makeup now. Like, there's literally 12-year-olds that put me to shame, if not younger. So yeah, I kind of just worked with what I had. And then I really started getting into it, like, seriously about, I want to say about 2 years ago, when I got home from Vietnam for the first time. I started playing around with it, and I was approached by someone who saw a picture on my Instagram of the makeup that I had done, and she asked me to do her wedding. And I was super nervous because I didn't have any makeup. Like, guys, I had like those cheap Chinese ones that, you know, like pull out, like, that are basically kiddies makeup. And that's all I had. Like, I couldn't afford anything else. And yes, I taught in Vietnam for a year, but we took our dog home from Vietnam to South Africa, and it was really expensive. So anyways, we spent most of our savings on taking her home, so I couldn't buy myself the things that I wanted to buy myself to do the wedding. So I kind of did the wedding with what I had, and my skills were not the best. They were okay, but I was still learning, and I was very new to the professional game. Okay, before we carry on, I'm gonna go in and contour. And to contour, I'm using my NYX Highlighter and Contour Pro palette, and that's really where my freelance career took off back home. And I pretty much owe it all to her that I was able to gain the confidence, because I now had some of the equipment that I needed to do it. And then I was doing quite a few like matric farewells, which is what we call them in South Africa and England and Australia and like pretty much everywhere else. It's called prom. And I was doing weddings and photo shoots, and I was having a great time. And I was supposed to start this YouTube channel like almost a year ago, but self-doubt and putting yourself out there for the world to see is very intimidating. I'm sorry about all the noise in the background. This room isn't really soundproof, so you're gonna hear kids throughout the video, and I apologize for that. Now we're moving on to brows, and it's my favorite part. And question number 3. I'm going in with my BH Cosmetics Studio Pro Ultimate Brow Palette. And she's been used, like a lot of my stuff. So these are the waxes, but I find they work really well as a pomade type of situation as well. So take a guess which one I use. So we're gonna brush our eyebrows up, and then we're gonna go in. Question number 3. What makes you happy? Wine. So one thing that makes me really happy is traveling. And we set out to travel 3 years ago, my boyfriend and I, and you know, we haven't done as much as we've wanted to, but we know that it's gonna get there. So traveling, I'm in my element. Makeup obviously makes me happy. I mean, that is definitely up there. I just find that you're able to escape into another world and just block everything out except the kids that run past your apartment screaming. I have so much fun just creating different looks. Brush my hairs up. especially the ones in the front. We're gonna start the eyes. So I'm going to be using an eyeshadow primer. You kind of want to keep the amount of product that you put onto your eyelid before the eyeshadow to a very minimal amount. So we're literally just gonna touch it. Then I've got my itty bitty little blender. Right, eyes are primed, we're good to go. So this is actually technically my first halo eye. So I'm a little intimidated, but I'm actually super excited because I have the most gorgeous idea in mind. The execution is a different story. We're going to see how it goes, but yeah, I'm super excited. So the main focus is going to be orange and yellow, obviously, and I'm going to be using the orange and the yellow from the Juvia's Place Zulu palette. And then I'm going to be dipping into, if we need, like I have these palettes on hand for if I need them. Then the Jaclyn Hill palette has this really pretty burnt orange over here called Hunts, is it? It is called Hunts. And then there's a row in the Tati palette that's also orange. So I'm going to be jumping between the colors, kind of seeing what I need from them, and yeah, wish me luck. So to start, I'm going to go in with the shade B from the James Charles palette, and I'm just going to dip into that and really get the shape for this halo eye. So I'm just going to stamp it down. Okay, so I feel like I've got the shape that I want, and now I'm going to dip into the yellow from the Juvia's Place Zoo palette, which obviously is, and now I'm going to dip into the yellow from the Juvia's Place palette, and I'm just going to put that on top of the yellow that I just placed down, just to kind of tone down the honeybee yellow. And then going in with a fluffy blending brush just to buff out the edges. Next, I'm going to go in with the orange from the Juvia's Place palette, and we're going to pack that just below the yellow, kind of in the crease, and we're just going to pack that on before we blend it out. Okay, back in with the same fluffy blending brush and buffing out the edges in soft circular motions into that yellow. It's okay if you lose some of the yellow because we're going to go back in and add some more. Okay, going in with my Morphe M433 brush, dipping back into the yellow from the Juvia's palette, and I'm just lightly taking that on the edge of the orange to blend it out seamlessly. So now comes the fun part, which is going to be cutting the crease to create the halo effect. And this is something that I can actually use my very light concealer for. I'm using the Really Professional number 18 brush, and I'm just going to feel for my natural crease, which is over here. Okay, and that's where we want the peak of the cut crease to be, and we're going to create quite a round shape. So we're going to follow our crease from the middle, we're going to go out in that round shape, and same on the other side. And then we're going to bring the concealer down a little. I haven't dipped back into it, I'm just using the concealer that was already on my brush, and we're just refining that line. And you want to focus most of the concealer in the middle of your eye. Okay, now we're going to go in with a deeper orange, and we're going to use that on the inner corner and on the outer corner of our eye. And for this orange, I'm deciding between the Tati and the Jaclyn Hill orange. So these are the two that I've kind of got to work with. I might use a mixture of the two just because they're both quite different. You know, one is definitely a deeper, almost brownish orange, and then the other one is more of a burnt orange. So I'm going to take the brush that I used to pack on the orange, and I'm just going to clean it off because I don't have that many brushes, so we work with what we've got. I'm going to take the Matte Story from the Tati palette, so it's the orange from the Tati palette, and I'm going to stamp it on in the inner corner and blend it up a little, and then do the same on the outer corner, stamp it on. And then we're going to blend it up a little just past the concealer, but not touching the concealer. And then the same on the outer corner. And then I'm going to go back into the orange from the Juvia's Place palette on the same brush and take some. And we're going to pack it on. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a very small packing brush. This is the Beely Professional 24. And I'm going to use that to pack on some color just because it's a lot more precise. And I need that precision right now. I'm going to add a little bit of the orange to the darker orange as well, just because I feel like it's maybe a little bit too brown. So we're just going to add some of this orange. And then I'm going to take my Morphe M433 brush and just softly blend it together. Okay, I'm actually going to go in with the burnt orange called Hunt from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to put that on the inside and on the outer corner so that I can see if I like that more than the Tati palette color. I'm now using the burnt orange from the Jaclyn Hill palette just because I feel like it's better suited to the look that I'm trying to achieve. So I'm just packing that on. Okay, and then I'm taking a clean fluffy brush and making sure that this doesn't create too much of a harsh line. I really like the vibe that it's giving off. It's like a sunset type situation. And like I said, this is my first halo eye, so it might not be technically correct, but as long as I kind of achieve the desired look that I'm going for, then I'll be happy. I'm going to use quite a small packing brush, and it's quite flat as well. I just want to clean it off, and I'm going to use that to pack on the yellow from the Juvia's Place palette. That's pretty. Okay, so now in the center, I wanted to add a pop. I'm not sure if this pop is gonna look right with the colors, but I'm gonna add a pop. No, I think I'm actually gonna go with this one. So that is the Glitter Aura, and I'm just gonna pack that over the yellow. So now we need to extend the yellow so that we don't have a bare base underneath the glitter. So I'm gonna extend that yellow all the way into the center. Like that. And then I'm going to add, just with my finger, I'm going to add the glitter on top of the yellow. Not too much, I don't want it to be too much. And then just with that little brush that had the yellow on it, I'm going to take a little more just to spread it out at the top. It's so unconventional, but I actually think I love it. This is nowhere near what I expected to create for you guys, but I'm not mad at it. So now I'm just going to go back and intensify whatever color needs to be dealt with, and just add a bit more definition to the crease so that the cut crease is more defined. Okay, for the lower lash line, I'm going to be using some of the yellow and dip it into the orange as well from the Juvia's Place palette. And I'm just going to drag that under my lower lashes. And then I'm going to take that burnt orange from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm just going to deepen it up a little. And then I'm just going to take the yellow on its own and put that at the bottom. Okay, so this is the first eye done. I obviously haven't done lashes or eyeliner or anything, but I'm going to finish the other eye off camera, and then we'll be back to kind of figure out the rest. I've attempted to kind of replicate it on this side, and it was a bit easier to do this eye than it was to do this one. So I think in future videos, I'm going to do an eye first, and then when I replicate that eye, that is the part that I will show you, because the first eye is to get a feel for everything, kind of see what works and what doesn't. So we've lost a bit of color in the face because the eyes are so bright. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of bronzer from my NYX palette. and just bronze up the face a little. And then I like to go in with a sponge afterwards and just kind of press everything into the skin, just to make sure that it melts into the skin and looks a little bit more natural. Now I'm going to do blush, and for the blush I'm going to use my Morphe palette. And if you watched, I think it was my first Thank You Doctors video, you would have seen this palette and you would have seen what it looks like. I've dropped it once and my boyfriend has sat on it once. So anyways, I'm going in with the shade Unapologetic. And like I say, if you do it further down, it's going to make your cheeks seem lower, which is going to drag your face down a lot more. So I just try and keep it under here, blend it into my bronzer and my contour. And I always put a little on the nose, just because I feel like then it looks like I've caught a bit of sun. And then same thing with the bronzer, I'm going to go in with a sponge and just ever so slightly pat it down, just to make it blend into the skin a little bit more, make it less harsh. Now for highlights, I'm going in a little bougie today, and I'm going to be using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sugar Glow Kit. I'm going to go in with Butterscotch, which is the more gold tone in the palette. And I'm taking that on my Beely Professional 07 brush. I'm just taking a little and I'm dusting it on the cheekbone and on my temple. Sometimes I'll be a little cheeky, no pun intended, and go onto my cheek. I'm going to do a little bit of strobing, just add a tiny touch on my forehead. And then we're going to go Cupid's bow. A little on the chin, and then obviously on the inner corner. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the brow bone. So, lipstick. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I feel like I do the same thing every time. Okay, I might actually just go in with like this reddish orange color from MAC. It is in the shade 602 Chili Matte Lipstick. I'm going to go and fix this mess up here. I'm going to go put on a different outfit, because this doesn't really classify as an outfit. And then the transformation will be complete. Okay, so I've highlighted my shoulders and my collarbone, which is a really nice kind of little something something you can add if you're wearing a top that's similar. But yeah, this is the second look of Pride Month. I'm kind of surprised that we made it this far. I was only expecting to put out the one, so there you go. And I think before we say goodbye, I have time for one more question. Okay, so I have wrinkles only at certain places. I want to cover them up lightly without having to cover my whole face. Any advice? My best advice for that would be to get a really decent filling primer, so that you can lay that over the wrinkles, and then you can set it with a little bit of foundation or concealer, whatever you want to. Just make sure the concealer is the color of your skin, because you don't want light patches everywhere. Set it with a bit of powder and you should be good to go. You will maybe have to touch up every now and then, depending on where you are in the world, just because makeup does tend to be affected by the heat a lot more than by colder weather. That's all I have for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.